Hi, I'm Gianni, and I'm here today to talk to you about homeopathy. This might be something new for most of you, but it's been around many years. And as you probably heard, it's become a very popular form of complementary medicine, sometimes considered mainstream in other countries. Homeopathy was invented even before Canada became a country by Samuel Hahnemann, and he was basically a German physician who became very disenchanted with the medicine of the time, and he gave up his practice to translate books into various languages. Hahnemann was a person who spoke many languages, so in the process of translating these medical textbooks, he came across the first principle of homeopathy, which is like cures like. And he went out of his way to prove this theory of like cures like, because the disease of his day was malaria. And he started taking cinchona bark, which was the medicine of the day to help people with this very difficult disease. And within a few weeks of taking the medicine, he started developing the symptoms of malaria. And he went, Eureka, that's in fact the principle of like cures like. That's what we've been searching for all this time. So him and his friends then decided that they'd start experimenting various things that they would find in a household. And they would grab various herbs that they'd find in the kitchen, and they would basically overdose on taking that particular herb. And the bunch of them would journal exactly what the symptoms of the overdose were. So just to be brief, some patient walks in and has a particular type of headache that would match, for example, that set of symptoms that they had journaled, and that was called what is called materia medica. So those early days, there may have only been about 100 to 200 different homeopathic remedies, and they would use these remedies to deal with the issues that these patients would come in with. And Hahnemann and his team of doctors cured all these illnesses that people came in with. And the other doctors, unfortunately, didn't have the kind of success that Hahnemann and his cronies were having. So he quickly had to leave Germany and ended up in France, where in France homeopathy really took off, and in short order it moved to the United States and then subsequent into Canada. And homeopathy was very commonplace about 200 years ago in this country. And as you know, or may not know, but the Grace Hospital in Toronto was a homeopathic hospital. And there's many hospitals in the States that solely only practice homeopathy. And we're coming upon a time now where people out with the advent, I guess, of people having access to information, and homeopathy is becoming again commonplace. And I'm so glad that I'm so part of it. I graduated in 1999 from the Toronto School of Homeopathic Medicine, and I've had a practice since that time, and enjoyed a fair amount of success with my patients, and I'm happy to be a spokesperson for homeopathy. The second principle of homeopathy, which is worth covering, is dilution. And this is kind of where often people that want to create problems for homeopathy target their arguments. And they say, well, if there's nothing in the remedy, how can this remedy that is just basically a sugar pill, how is this going to help people? Well, the strong argument that we tend to use when people ask us about the placebo effect is that I'm not Dr. Doolittle, and I've treated a number of pets that people have brought my way to my practice, and I assure you that I have no way to communicate with these animals and do some magic in terms of my abilities to convince them to get better. And trust me, if the animal had a digestive disorder, I didn't do anything in terms of my magic in my words I was talking to this animal about. It was only the homeopathic remedy that I carefully chose and matched those symptoms that the pet owner described to me and what I've been able to get from the animal that have chosen a particular remedy that perfectly matched those symptoms, and then the digestive disorder went away. So that's the basic argument for the placebo effect in terms of dilution. So these medicines in the time of Hahnemann, they were quickly running out of certain remedies, so they decided to just add more water, so to speak, to the remedies that they had. And from the first dilution being what's called the mother tincture. And in fact, these remedies would get stronger every time they diluted them. So that was the second eureka that Hahnemann and his followers discovered, was that the more you diluted the remedy, the stronger it got. So present-day researchers who are researching homeopathy are now diluting remedies into the millionth to show that in fact these remedies actually get stronger and they get better results. In modern day times, however, just in talking about the differences between the time of Hahnemann and today, you probably are aware that our diseases of the day are far more complicated than in those days. You have generations of peoples that are unhealthy, and people right at inception inherit all of the difficulties that their ancestors had on both sides of the biological union, if you will. So someone presents into modern day a homeopath's office, they have to take into account all that history. And often, in the time of Hahnemann, one remedy would clear the situation up, or what's called a constitutional picture you would easily get, and prescribe a remedy that matched those symptoms of the patient. But unfortunately today, with the various toxic levels of patients, oftentimes we need to deal with the toxic level of the patient, and then deal with the history, and as well deal with the complicated diseases that have not been dealt with very well by regular medicine, unfortunately. And so you have a very complicated picture. So you don't have the instant cures that Hahnemann and his followers had in those days. On occasion you do get that, and I've had some of those cases myself, but more often than not I'm finding that I have to give more than one remedy to clear the symptoms up in a patient. As well, in certain areas where I know that the toxicity is very high, I have to basically do a cleanse with most patients using homeopathics, and then I'm able to get a better constitutional picture of what exactly is going on with the patient.